Shalom, shalom. Can one of y'all check the audio too, real quick, Baba Kasha?
Sure.
Testing, testing, testing.
Mm.
Testing.
All right. That was good.
Good to go. All right, hey, shalom.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, we want to give all
Shalom.
praise, honor, glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Radash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Root and Teach Well, Wabarakathum, and to the hopeful elect. This is GMS Dallas Younger Bros. I have the brother of Gadal here, while the brother of Warga, and we're going to be going into a quick breakdown of Joshua, the 5th chapter, which we've been going through that chapter as like, basically us to study together and then ultimately bring out, a lesson on it through the spirit. So Lord willing, Joshua chapter 5 is edifying, and we're gonna get straight into it. Let me know when you got it pulled up. I can add, there we go. You got it. There it is.
Yeah. All right. I'll read it. This is Joshua chapter
And
5.
also, as you see the title, it says Israel. Yeah, I'm about to say, as you see on the title, it says Israel is circumcised, because you got to realize, like, we've been going into it on this chapter, but Israel just came. They was under the captivity of the Egyptians, and then it was in the wilderness, and then it was the fresh. It was basically that fresh new generation.
Mm-hmm.
So they was having to come back into the customs, and they was getting ready to go into the Holy Land. They was subduing a lot of these heathen nations out of the Holy Land. So they had to. It's like we finna make ourselves. Your mic muted at all.
All right. I don't know if it's just on my end, but you kind of cutting in and out. So, like some of your words get skipped.
It is. I can let me refresh real
But
quick, and you can start. You can start reading it. Let me refresh.
okay. All right. This is Joshua chapter 5 and verse 1. And as you see the title, it says Israel circumcised. It says, and it came to pass when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that Yahweh had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel until we were passed over, that their heart melted, neither was their spirit in them anymore because of the children of Israel.
Yeah, the nations were afraid. If brother
Mhm.
can get Deuteronomy 28:10 real fast, that's what's gonna happen when the Lord bless us. It says when we're blessed and we get all those blessings, the nations are gonna be afraid of us. They gonna know Yahweh Shem Shai is with us, and it's gonna be that big event of Babylon the Great being destroyed and all these heathen nations being gathered up and getting judged for what they did to Israel.
Yeah, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse, you said 10, right?
You can get 9 and 10.
All right. This is 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 9. It says, Yahweh shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy power and walk in his ways, and all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of thee.
That's just like what's quoted in Jude the 5th chapter. So when they see that Yahweh Shem Shai with us, they're gonna be scared, because they're gonna know that if they try and come and overtake us, it's not gonna work. Right? So it's getting ready to happen again. You see? So they heard about what happened with Joshua, and then they knew about what happened with Moses. So these nations were afraid. But you got it, bro.
Back in Joshua.
God.
All right, this is Joshua chapter 5, verse 2. It says, at that time, Yahweh said unto Joshua, make these sharp knives and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time.
Which we were just going into. We was in Egypt. And
Yep.
then it was that fresh generation, because in the wilderness, a lot of motherfuckers died in the wilderness. They was wicked. So it was that fresh generation with Joshua and Caleb.
Yep.
So a lot of them had to be circumcised. You got it, bro.
Kind of verse 3. It says, and Joshua made him sharp knives and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war died in the wilderness by the way after they came out of Egypt.
Because what was Israel doing? You read Numbers, the 14th chapter, Israel was going the hell off in the
Yep.
wilderness, murmuring. Matter of fact, we just get the first couple of verses of it, just to go into a little bit of history, just Numbers 14, and see what Israel was doing. That's why the Lord jacked up Israel.
Yep.
They was scoffing, murmuring, talking noise, talking shit. You can
Yep.
go to like verse. You can start at the top. Just read a
Okay,
couple of verses.
this Numbers chapter 14, verse 1. And I mean, you can see the the title says the people rebel, right? Talking about Israel being rebels against Moses, or rebelling against Moses. All right, this is Numbers chapter 14, verse 1. It says, and all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, why the Most High that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would the Most High we had died in this wilderness? You want to keep going?
Yeah, you can go a little bit more.
It says, and wherefore hath Yahweh brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, the sword, that our wives and children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, let us make a captain and let us return into Egypt.
And when you read later in that chapter, the Lord said he gonna fuck. Cause like basically Joshua and Caleb came with that good witness saying, "Hey, the land is good. If the Lord is with us, we'll be able to subdue the nations." But they was like, Israel was like trying to stone them. So then the Lord said, "I'm gonna fuck y'all up." Later in the
Mm-hmm.
chapter, you see. So most of Israel didn't make it. They was in this kind of spirit. And then you even had a little bit later, well actually earlier, you already know what happened with Aaron. He made the idol.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, Israel was going completely left. So the Lord just had enough. You got it, bro.
Back in Joshua.
Yep. And then the Lord, and the scriptures say that things written aforetime was written for our learning. That's why I know it's in Corinthians, but it speaks about how like be not like them that were in the wilderness. It gives the examples on how they was acting in the wilderness, because we was cutting up. Israel was cutting the fuck up. So that's why the Lord was justified in fucking Israel up, man, because we was going off.
Yep.
Made a golden calf. We was talking about let's go back to Egypt, murmuring, being ungrateful. For the Lord was feeding us, making sure we was good in the wilderness, and Jake was just tripping. But you got it, bro.
God. Back in Joshua chapter 5, and now we're at verse 5. Yeah, verse 5. Wait. Yeah, verse 5 says, now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised.
Mm-hmm.
For
So
the
they had to be
children,
circumcised. It was like them coming, because really we already know the true circumcision is the circumcision of heart. But in this situation, the Lord finna had them in the Holy Land. The Lord wanted them to actually be circumcised.
yep.
But we already know in this
Tamar.
current time we're gonna get the new bodies. It's gonna already be circumcised. We're gonna get those glorified bodies like Yahweh Shai. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be made holy to go into the Holy Land. We're gonna get those new holy bodies. You got it, bro. That's the new covenant.
Verse 6, it says, for the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness till all the people that were men of war which came out of Egypt were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of Yahweh, unto whom Yahweh sware that he would not show them the land which Yahweh sware unto their fathers, that he would give us a land that floweth with milk and honey.
And that's the Holy Land. A land that's full of agriculture. You can look at that Central Hill country. They call it like Central Hill country or something like that, region. That's those mounts that we was trying to take over. That had great agriculture. It gave you military advantages over the other nations. That's the land the Lord blessed us to give us with. You see, so it was a great land. But Israel was in that spirit of doubt. They didn't want to trust in the Lord's way he wanted us to obtain the land. You got it, bro.
Got it. Continuing on, verse 7, it says, and their children whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised because they had not been circumcised. Because they had not circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass when they had done circumcising all the people that they abode in their place in the camp till they were whole.
Keep going.
It says, well, I'm just if I can speak on this real quick, because
go ahead.
Because it says they abode in their place until the camp in the camp till they were whole, just going into pretty much, man, they stayed there until they healed up, because they weren't, because they weren't babies when they got circumcised. You talking about like young men pretty much, right? So when they got circumcised, even if you would get circumcised today, you have to be kind of, you have to be careful moving around for a little bit. So that's why it says they stayed. That's why it says they abode in their places till they were whole. In other words, until they was fully healed. I'm gonna continue on. Verse 9, it says, and Yahweh said unto Joshua, this day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you, wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day.
That just like kind of sounds like Isaiah 4:1. Take away our reproach. Yeah. So the Lord returned and started back dealing with us, in an intimate way, through Moses, and then now it's Joshua. So we had to, we need the Lord to take away our shame. We had a reproach, and it's getting ready to happen in this current time now. You got it, bro.
Yeah. Continuing on.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You got it.
I was gonna say real quick, that was a representation of what the Lord did with Abraham too, because with Abraham, he had Abraham circumcise himself, and that was a token or a sign of the covenant that the Lord was making with Abraham. So going to that right here, this was a token, a sign of the Lord's with the nation of Israel. That circumcision, just to add on to that.
Kind. And a way to prove that, like, you have some camps that's all law, and this and that. Well, Abraham received the blessing, before the circumcision. You read that in Romans the 4th chapter, proving that it's an inward thing. It's really the inward circumcision that really matters. Because like Jay can do the physical circumcision and still not be right. It's still not actually have that holy mindset. It's about your mindset and your intent towards the Lord. But you got it, bro.
All right, back in Joshua chapter 5 and verse 10, it says, and the children of Israel encamped in Gilgal and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho.
Yeah, it's not talking about this current, in this time period. Time is all jacked up. But it was talking about when the sun went down on that day, they kept the Passover, the Pesach. And that's what Easter is supposed to be. Niggas talk about Easter. It's supposed to be the Passover. HaPesach. Where you had the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and then you remember when the Lord passed over us and he judged the Egyptians. You got it, bro.
Okay. Back in Joshua chapter 5 and verse 11, it says, and they did eat of old corn of the land on the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the self same day. And the
so is that Feast of Unleavened Bread for those 7 days that week.
Yep.
You got it, bro.
Verse 12, it says, and the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land, neither had the children of Israel manna anymore, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year.
So I was proving that. Matter of fact, we can get it real quick. Deuteronomy the 8th chapter. The Lord was testing us with the stuff in the wilderness, having us eat the manna and having us be in the wilderness. That was all a test of our faith. Because you see, now he's letting them eat the fruit of the land of what? Canaan.
Oh, my bad. All right.
So we're going to go straight to the point to prove the second verse.
All right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 2 says, and thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no.
Yep. And then when you read down on the chapter, it goes into the details. But that's the point. It was to humble us, to test us, right? Lower seeing if we was gonna be right, if we was sincere. But you got it, bro.
Yeah, back in Joshua, I'm assuming.
Yep. Just two more verses.
All right, back in Joshua chapter 5 and verse 12. Nope, we already read 12. My bad. Right? Yeah, we already read 12. All right, the 13. It says, and it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with the sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, art thou for us or for our adversaries?
Angel pulled up on him.
Yep.
You know the angel be Yahushua. Yahushua pulled up on Moses. You see? Yahushua was always guiding us and delivering us. And it actually quotes this in the book of Acts. Don't remember the exact chapter, but it's actually quoted in Acts. You got it, bro.
God, this is Joshua chapter 5 and verse 14. It says, and he said, nay, but as captain of the host of Yahweh, am I now come? And Joshua fell on his face to earth and did worship and said unto him, what saith my Lord unto his servant?
So he fell down and worship. Why did he do that? Because it's just like Moses had Yahushua pull up on him, he pulled up on Joshua. That top angel, beware of him. That angel in what is it, Exodus the 23rd chapter? You got it.
Yep.
I'm gonna add a point. Well, my bad. Was you finna add a point, Godot?
Yeah, I was. Well, I was gonna say something real quick. Just showing you how it was Yahushua because he worshipped him, and he didn't tell him. And I mean, Yahushua didn't tell him, "Oh no, don't worship me," like it says in Revelations, right? When John fell to worship an angel, he said, "No, don't worship me, for I'm thy fellow servant." Why didn't he say the same thing? Because it's Yahushua. We're supposed to worship Yahushua. But that's all I wanted to say on that. You got to work.
Now, I have three stuff real quick.
All right.
Now, can you get Hebrews 1?
I got you.
You could read verse 1, but we're gonna jump down. Wait, let me see.
Hebrews 1 and 1.
Yeah, read verse 1 and 2.
All right. This is Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the Most High, who has sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the Father by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds.
See, just going to the aspect of the divinity and the power, that the Lord given over to Yahushua. You see, because like it says that he, the Son, whom he have appointed heir of all things. You see, so everything is given over to Yahushua. You even read about that. I can't think of the chapter, the book, but it talks about how everything is going to bow, things in heaven, things in earth. Even Revelation 5 tells you about the authority that Yahushua has. And we could jump down to verse, where is it at? Jump down to verse 5. And jump down to verse 5. Babu Shah.
All right.
Actually, read verse 4 and 5. Babu Shah.
All right, this is Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 4. It says, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance in obtaining a more excellent name than they. For
exactly. So and like we know that word name in Hebrew, it's like not shem. But that word name, it goes into reputation. One's reputation, one's rank. You see, so he has by inheritance, right? Yahushua has a greater rank than any other angel. He has the highest rank, under Yahweh that was given unto him, right? Now read verse 5.
Okay. Verse 5, it says, for unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee, and again I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son.
Exactly. Yahweh co-signed it, man. I mean, it's like Yahweh co-signed it. Just kind of adding on to the point of that verse in Joshua chapter 5, how that angel came to him and he asked the angel, and he kneeled unto the angel, bowed, which Brother Badal beautifully mentioned, that reference that is Yahweh because he didn't tell him, hey, get up. I'm a fellow servant. And this Hebrews 1 goes into the authority that Yahweh has, that, Lord never, which of the angel, right? The Elohim, which any of the other Elohim did he tell you are my son? No other Elohim, no other power but Yahweh Shah. He's the only one, you see? And then I think it's John. John goes into it, the divinity of Yahweh Shah. But you got it out though.
Yeah, but I got one more, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and close it
Say it
out.
again.
Jake gotta
Oh, you got one
get to
more?
these slave barracks and shit. I'm gonna grab this real quick, Acts 7:33, and then we gonna get the last verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah. I'm gonna read it real quick. This is Acts chapter 7 and verse 33. I'm gonna read 32. It says, matter of fact, 31. It says, when Moses saw it, he wondered in the sight as he had drawn nearer to behold it. The voice of Yahweh Shah came unto him, saying, I am the power of thy fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. Then Moses trembled and durst not behold. Then said the Lord to him, put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place where thou standest is holy ground. And it just read, and that one in Joshua, that what? It was the angel that told him that. So the same thing happened with Moses. But you got it, bro.
All right.
Because, like, basically, that was quoted again in Acts, the 7th chapter.
Yeah. Damn it. All right. Back in Joshua chapter 5 and verse 15, it says, and the captain of Yahweh's host said unto Joshua, loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy, and Joshua did so.
Yep. So, hey, Yahweh Shah put up on him. He had to, because he was going he was going to get ready to be in the Holy Land. Just like Moses was on the mount, that holy land, that holy portion, to where he had to be a certain way, had to take his shoes off and stuff before he came before the Lord. Well, Joshua doing the same thing. You see? And then Yahweh Shah pulled up on him. Had to let him know, hey, you finna enter into some Holy Land, bro. So, hey, that's the same thing that's happening with us spiritually in the spirit. We're being prepared and being groomed to be able to get into that Holy Land. It's us rehearsing those righteous acts, putting on as the elect, putting on those white garments, those pure garments. This truth is likened unto beautiful garments, and it's getting us ready to be able to get into that Holy Land, to be able to be with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's all I had, bros.
Yeah.
Yep, hey, Lord willing, this Joshua the 5th chapter edified. We like to end it all by saying, call halal Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Radash, the Barnes to the Apostles, Elders, Great Millstone, Room Teach Well. Till next time, come Mashallah, Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.